Hello. Well, we're coming to the end of our second day of our Creating Connections, Sharing Our Stories mini festival. I'm Dr. Erica Rose Jeffrey, one of the co-directors of Dance for Parkinson's Australia, and I'm going to present the final session for today. Before I go any further, I do want to take some time to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that we're all gathering from. I am joining from Yagara and Turrbal lands, where I live and work in Brisbane, and want to pay my deep respects to elders past, present, and emerging. And as we come to a close with our festival, also thinking about the power of stories and how stories have been a part of our human history since the very beginning, and the different ways that stories have been told through song, through music, through dance, through art, through storytelling, and the way in which we all embody those stories and both carry what's happened before with us and move together into the future. So this last session is just a chance to give a little bit more information about Dance for Parkinson's Australia. You may already be connected with us, or this may be the first time that you're having a chance to link up with us. So we thought we might just provide a little bit of information, also share some resources and to make sure that you are aware of them, and to share some exciting news about next steps. So I'm going to talk a little bit, and of course, inviting questions. So if you want to go ahead and type some questions in the live chat, I'm happy to answer those questions as well, and invite some participation from everybody. So I'm just going to take a moment to share a few slides, just a few images, just to give, as we're coming to the close of this, just to give a little bit of information about how it started. So let's hold on one moment. I'll see if I can get this set up. Okay. All right, so Dance for Parkinson's Australia. And I love this idea of thinking like a dancer. And I think that's something that really comes from the long-term relationship that we have had with the Danceford PD program in the United States. So, oops, I think that I have done something again with my slides. So we've had a long-term relationship with Dance for PD in the United States. And this idea of thinking like a dancer is something where we're really taking on the knowledge of a dancer, really inviting that into our communities to reframe in many ways where dance happens, what it looks like, and how can we create further access and participation in creative dance activities. So one of the things that I want to acknowledge is the importance of the relational connections. And so from the very beginning, we've had a strong relationship with Dance for PD in the US and founding teacher and director David Leventhal. And this has been really important in how we've been able to start programs here in Australia and continue to nurture and grow them. So when we think about how did this all start? I came to Australia in 2012, and I'd already been involved in the Dance for Parkinson's program in the US for several years. And David and I had engaged in some conversations about the fact that there was interest in Australia, but how might we get things started here? So we were able to launch the first classes in 2013, and this was enabled by the fact that David was able to come over to Australia, and we did a teacher training workshop in Brisbane at Queensland Ballet and one in Sydney as well. And so there are classes that have started from 2013 that are still running today, and that was sort of the initial start of the program here. And it would not be possible without the amazing advocacy within the Parkinson's community, within arts organizations, from health professionals, researchers, that's allowed us to be able to initiate programs here, but also then build programs into the future. So from those initial trainings, one of the classes that we were able to start was the class at the Queensland Ballet here in Brisbane. And what was exciting about that class, in addition to the fact that we were in the studio dancing, had wonderful live music, was that we were able to undertake a research study from that very first class. And this is a model that I really appreciate from Danceford PD in terms of this building of relationships with researchers, clinicians, health professionals, artists, from the very beginning of the Danceford PD program, which we're really pleased to celebrate with them that this is their 20th year of the program, 20th anniversary for Danceford PD, and that this particular festival has been included in some of the events that they are celebrating for their 20th anniversary. So when we think about the idea of building those networks of relationships, in Brisbane, we were able to start a research program, research study with the initial pilot program. And this was made possible through the relationship with Queensland Ballet, the Queensland University of Technology, and the University of Queensland here in Brisbane. And in many ways, this study, which was the first of this particular program in Australia, the Dance for Parkinson's program in Australia, was in many ways demonstrating the benefits of Dance for Parkinson's, which had been shown in other places and in other countries here in Australia. So looking at things around positive physical benefits, social connections, looking at things like cognitive dual tasking, and really adding to the body of research. And so I think that that's one of the things when we think about the program here in Australia, one of the things that we want to continue to build upon is that relationship of community practice linked with ongoing developments in research and how they both interweave and connect with each other in many ways. So from that particular class and research study, there has been an ongoing program at Queensland Ballet since 2013, which continues, as well as classes in Sydney and in Canberra, in Victoria, and we've been lucky enough to work with wonderful arts practitioners in WA, in South Australia, in Tasmania, to look at supporting community-based classes for people living with Parkinson's, their partners, caregivers, and family members. And we really look at this kind of program sitting under the umbrella of community dance. So we always place dance at the center. So dance is, we think about it as a creative activity that may have all of these other connections. Yes, it's exercise. Yes, it's social interaction. And yes, it's creative. And yes, we're looking at how do we explore and expand our own artistry. So looking at all of these different elements together. We also provide teacher training. So looking at how do we work with teaching artists to build on the knowledge that they already have in order to look at how, what are the additional skills that might be needed to deliver these kinds of classes. And we continually involve advocacy and communication with the Parkinson's community in terms of looking at how we as an organization can continue to look at what other opportunities and possibilities there might be. I think that for me, I really appreciate the many relationships that we've been able to form here in Australia, and that we've also started to make some connections to the greater Asia Pacific region. So working with Danceford PD, we've been connected to working with communities in Malaysia, in China, Japan, and New Zealand. And it's really wonderful to see that there's classes and opportunities connected to dance growing in the broader Asia Pacific region. And that's something that we're committed to continuing to develop. as well as looking at within our own community, how do we continue to provide further access? Something that David Leventhal mentioned earlier today, looking at who's in our classes and who's not in our classes. Is it perhaps people who are speaking a different language, and perhaps we need to look at that as an element of diversity? Is it groups of people in sort of urban or rural areas? Is it involving younger people in the Parkinson's community? So while I feel very proud and appreciative of everything we've done, there's still more work to be done. I did want to just point out a few sort of resources and ideas of things to connect with. One of the relationships that has been really wonderful for us to build upon has been with the Sydney Opera House and a series called Dancing Connections. And this has been a special opportunity for us to hold a community class in the Sydney Opera House upstairs in the Utzon Room, and link that to professional dance companies or performances that are happening in the Opera House. So some of this has connected to touring companies such as the Kibbutz Contemporary Dance Company. Or we were able to do one session that was connected to Vivid, where they show the lights on the sails, which was a really exciting opportunity for us to explore our own creativity in a different way. And then in the last 18 months, we were able to work with the Opera House and Sydney Dance Company to create a digital resource. And so I just wanted to take a moment to sort of share that. I'll just point to it and sort of share a little bit of that, because I think it's this idea of working with experienced artists, professional artists, and thinking about how do we translate that movement, those ideas into our community, and how do we continue to expand and develop as artists, as members of this community, but also as leaders in the field. So let's see if I can get this particular component to work. Okay, hold on one second. All right, so we're going to just share this. So I just wanted to point to the access programs from the Sydney Opera House. And this digital resource, which is working with the Sydney Dance Company and looking at taking the opportunity to learn some of the choreography from the repertoire from Sydney Dance Company, from the wonderful Charmaine Yap. You might see a few familiar faces in the sort of image as well, looking at from our community. So it's a class, but then also a chance to learn some repertoire and then have a creative exploration on your own. So if you're not able to join a class, a live class, this is an on-demand resource that's available for free, and is a really nice opportunity to take a little trip to Sydney if you're not in Sydney, and explore some contemporary dance movement. We also have a number of resources on our website. So this includes class listings if you're looking for in-person classes. There's a number of online classes as well. And I think that one of the sort of components of our work is to continue to look at access. And so even before the events of the last 18 months, we were really looking at the idea of how do we grow the opportunities to connect. And so we've been looking at options around streaming classes, providing some digital video resources. And this is, I think, something that we have definitely grown into in the last 18 months, and I think we'll continue to explore. So there are some videos if you just want to do a short exercise at home. I am a dance activist, so I really encourage us all to have a bit more dance in our lives as we go. I think we can all have more movement. And that brings me to talking about where we might go next, some of the ideas of what's happening next, things that are on the horizon. And I'm going to talk for just a little bit longer, but then we'll invite questions from you as well to sort of stimulate some further discussion. So this festival has been such an amazing interaction, adventure for us. This was a very new endeavor for us as a small organization to undertake. And I just want to make sure that we thank everybody that was involved, the presenters, the Dance for Parkinson's Australia team, the teaching artists from around the country, the amazing volunteers who've made this possible, the wonderful support from Arts Front, which has helped us to really connect and to share and to learn in the digital space. We've been able to do this in collaboration with Parkinson's Queensland and with Danceford PD as part of their 20th anniversary year. And we've also had support from the Queensland government through an Arts Queensland grant, Community Benefit Gambling Fund grant, and COTA Queensland. And this is Seniors Month in Queensland. And I think that it's such a wonderful opportunity to think about this idea of creative aging. And how amazing is it that yesterday we heard about a participant who was debuting in her first performance at 93. And I think, to me, that really is the model, the idea of what does creative aging look like, that we can continue to explore our own artistry in multiple ways throughout the course of our life and journey. I also want to say that it's been a wonderful opportunity to link further with the Arts Health Network Queensland and really looking at this space of arts, health and well-being, creative well-being, and how we are as a field of cohorts of people standing together in solidarity, continuing to raise visibility and opportunity and access. So before turning it over to questions, I want to announce a project that we are embarking upon in Queensland, which we are inviting our national and international colleagues to join in. And so the idea is a creative project, and it's called Reframing Our Stories. And the idea is that we are inviting you to participate in a little creative development. So we will share an invitation of some cues. And this might be sort of like a recipe that you could potentially explore with your class, on your own, with your family. And the idea is that we will all explore this idea of reframing. And it might be something really literal, like using frames, picture frames as a prop. Or maybe it's more abstracted in the idea of moving through space and changing perspective. Or maybe you have a favorite place in your community and maybe dance doesn't really happen there, but you're going to reframe the idea of what does dance look like and where does it happen. So stay tuned. We'll be sharing more information about this project. The idea is that we're going to share the details about it now, but that the sort of impetus of the project would be to share the creative development in April next year, April 2022, as part of a continuation, a further evolution of this festival, and also connecting with initiatives that Danceford PD is initiating or is launching. So a really exciting opportunity to go beyond the class experience and engage in a creative exploration. So keep your eyes open for more information around the Reframing Our Stories project. I think it's going to be really exciting and a great way to build on the momentum from this wonderful, inspiring gathering that we have been able to experience over the last 2 days. So I might finish there with a giant thank you to everybody, and just see if we have any questions, either on the chat or from other participants. I'm happy to take some questions or comments if anyone would like questions or comments. If not, I might turn it over to my fabulous co-director, Philip Piggin. I believe he has a few things that he would like to say.
Thank you very much, Erica Rose. Thank you. And look, coming to the end of this amazing juggernaut, I guess I just wanted to say that festivals, let alone mini festivals, do not happen without an enormous amount of work, as I'm sure you would appreciate. And especially when that project is, that festival goes for 2 days, a packed 2 days. It involves a numerous number of extraordinary presentations, those presentations from all around the world. And it's all been online, which I think for a lot of us has been, a pretty major learning journey. And Erica Rose, ably supported by the wonderful Elliot in the back room there, has done such an extraordinary, superb job in just keeping it all rolling along so smoothly. So I just wanted to say, Erica Rose, on behalf of Kathy Goss, our co-director, and I'm sure all the people who've been fortunate enough to be able to drop in and join us for these 2 very rich, extraordinary days. A massive thank you to you. I think I'm realising you must get by on about 5 hours sleep a night, and you have just done an extraordinary job. We are so blessed to have you in our country, and thank goodness the day you got your Australian passport stamped and decided to make it your home. We are indebted to you. Thank you so much. Enormously appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Philip, and a big thank you to everyone. Again, this is a community endeavor, and I think really is built on the strength of community. So I feel so inspired by our beautiful community. So what happens next in terms of this experience? So many of the sessions that we have engaged in are already available online, which you can access through the ArtsFront platform. And some of the classes, we will provide the links for those as well for you to share, to experience those videos. I'm also going to invite you to stay in touch with us. If you're not already connected to our newsletter, go ahead and sign up, and so you can stay in the know about what we're doing. And I think it's a wonderful chance for us to think about what might be possible moving forward, built on what we've been able to do so far together. And I just have a quick note that actually the videos are available now, so you're welcome to access those and share the information that we've experienced together. So I might bring it to a close, just sort of looking at how we started with some breaths together. So thinking about the wonderful Marian Wabke and how she opened our sessions together, and just inviting everyone to take a breath in at the pace that feels right to you. And when you're ready, releasing that breath. Taking a moment to ground your feet into the floor, to make that connection to your space, to your place, to yourself. Just taking breaths at the speed that you need. And just taking a moment to reflect on the experiences, the expertise, the humor, the learnings that we have all had a chance to share in over the last 2 days. And taking in another big breath and letting it out. And one of the things we've been doing in our class is just to take a breath into our hearts. So placing your hands on your heart and letting it out. And we're just going to reach out. Everybody can just reach out. I am reaching out to you across the virtual space. Taking your hands. One more time, a breath in, and just keeping this one for yourself and letting it go. Thank you so much, and we hope to see you in the future in person or online.